It's May 1st, 2020.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 152. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
Hello, Todd.
Hello, Seth.
You sound sleepy.
Some might say I just woke up.
Some might say that. Others might say that you've woken up, you've gone to the bathroom, you've fully eaten.
I wouldn't say fully eaten. That was a mini bag of Pop-Tart treats.
I see.
If you consider that, if anyone considers that fully eaten,
it's enough sustenance to last you an hour. Is that fair?
Last me about like 5 minutes.
Just pass out in the middle of the show.
You know who I am, boy. You've seen you've seen it in person now. The orders I do.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
Your orders are adorable. They're cute. No.
Oh, Todd, the Clone Wars Season 7 shot series. We've got it in full swing. It's 2/3 of the way complete. Just as the Season 7 itself is 2/3 of the way complete.
About time, right?
That is up. That is live for your listening pleasure. The final episode in the arc, in the Siege of Mandalore arc, that's kind of ending the series. The final episode of that airs next week on May the 4th. So we're going to try to get that final episode of Shots out around that time. We're going to try not to make you wait too long for that. We've been pretty good about doing this Clone Wars shit. Once we've gotten back into the swing of it.
I would say at the beginning, not really.
Yeah, but once we actually sat down and made the time for it, I think there was only a gap of like a week between the two episodes, so
maybe something like that.
Either way, those are up, they're live. I just wanted to pimp that out a little bit as we're gearing up towards May the 4th, towards the end of this series, really. So go and hang out with us, listen to that. It's a fun little shot series. It's been a fun season. I don't know about you, Todd, but I'm very hype for the Siege of Mandalore.
Of course I'm hyped for the Siege of Mandalore.
I'm trying to just avoid spoilers online, but I've been hearing some amazing things. I mean, there are people who are watching this weekly who are saying this is some of the best Star Wars content ever. These are 10 out of 10 episodes. So
yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Can't wait to jump in. So that's been fun. Todd, weekly Corona update.
Well, at the time of this episode going live, I'm living in a dystopian world where I am apparently, well, they can't technically can suck my nuts. They can technically say it's mandatory, I have to wear a mask in public spaces.
Yep. That's a thing.
Yeah, I'll be honest, people are going to fight that shit. Just saying.
We'll see. I don't know. I think people are fighting the reopenings in general.
Well, here's my thing.
But
I genuinely cannot work in it. I can't breathe.
Yeah, a lot of people have that issue.
I legitimately cannot breathe, and I'm like, what, you want me to pass out doing my essential job? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, a lot of people have the breathing problems with the mask on. They can't do it. My wife went to Walmart the other day wearing one, and she had literally after 30 minutes or so, she's like, I can't fucking breathe in this.
No, dude, I was in, so my bike got a flat a couple days ago at the time of this recording, and I had to go into Target. I had to go all around everywhere, just trying to get everything, and that was the first time I actually put on a mask, because it was the first time I actually went into a store. I try not to, you know what I'm saying? Half the time if I do anything, I pick something up before as I get out of work, and I don't have to worry about that shit.
Yeah, sure.
So I actually went into Target and I had to put on this fucking mask I had, and I'm like, I hated it. Hated it. I can't breathe in this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny doing these Corona updates. I just kind of want to use it as like almost like a timestamp, so that in a year we can go back and listen to this and just remember how these times, we live in crazy times, man. We live in historic times right now.
These Corona times.
What's crazy to me is to see the price of oil
Mm-hmm.
and the way that's been.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, some people are like, woohoo, gas is cheaper. Gas is really cheaper now than it's been in I don't even know how long.
Yeah.
Certainly since I've been driving. Gas has never been this cheap. It's actually not really a good thing.
It's not
because
at all.
The price of oil has actually dropped into the negatives, where like they fucking pay you to take their oil, literally.
Yeah.
And it's not good for people who work in the oil business. I mean, people who work offshore in these industries, including my dad, by the way. My dad is fearful for his job because of these oil prices plummeting the way they are. So it's crazy, man. And I just, there needs to be a compromise. There needs to be a middle ground between gas prices being cheap, but also oil being affordable enough to sustain these positions. I mean, I don't think anybody needs their gas to be like literally $1 a gallon. I mean, we're not that broke. You all got that Trump money. You can afford to pay a little more for your gas.
What's that Trump money? I don't have Trump money.
Not anymore.
Gone. Gone.
Anyway, we live in crazy times, man. I think it's important to mark that. What have you been playing, Todd?
In my blur of like depression and just exhaustion from work, I've been still rocking a little bit of Neo 2. Like kind of just doing a slow playthrough the New Game Plus. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but in New Game Plus, the ranged motherfuckers shoot faster. It's like hilarious how fast they shoot.
That's
it's
crazy.
Like after one is almost hitting you, they're firing again.
Damn.
It's hilarious. It is the funniest shit. So if you do get hit and you get knocked down by like a cannon, cannon's usually coming back at you like as you're getting up. It's pretty good.
It's a pain in the ass.
Oh, it's real good. So it's also a pain in the ass trying to you gotta be real good with your aim on your range attacks to take them out. For some reason, I wanted to re-download Sekiro for the third time.
Holy shit! You're like a punching bag. You just keep coming back.
And I deleted
Todd,
it again.
It's done. Todd, it's done. You don't like the game.
I deleted it again too instantly. I jumped on there. I'm like, I was going through like one of the starting areas. I'm like, this game just feels like shit.
It's over. You don't like the game. You. There will come a time when that game will drop to a price that I deem worthy to purchase it for, and I will try that game. Just because I think that will make for a really interesting conversation on the show.
If you end up liking the game, Nerd Bourbon is. But no, and then also I've been doing my daily Animal Crossing.
You've played much more of that now than you did last week on the show. You have much more of a feel for the game now than you did a week ago.
I essentially jump on every day, do my chores. I look forward to it.
Yeah,
it's like one of the first things I do when I get home.
Did your resident services get upgraded yet?
So it was getting upgraded today. So by the time 5 in the morning at the time of this recording, we should be good.
When the new day rolls around, you'll have your upgraded resident services. Nice. Yeah. So your first week with the game has been fairly efficient. That's pretty much as efficient as it could be. You may have been able to get it like a day earlier, but honestly, you've pretty much gone as fast as you could possibly go.
Oh, I think the thing that really fucked me over is like the one day I didn't do something really optimal was I didn't sit there and get the first 3 villagers or islanders, whatever you want to call them,
Yeah.
I didn't get their houses set up like the same day that I could have. That was
Right.
basically the thing that kind of like put me a little behind, but it's whatever.
So your Islanders, let's running down the Islanders you have now. You have what, 5 of them now? You have the initial 2 and then the
Yes.
3 that you recruit.
Yep.
You have, let me see if I can remember them. You've got Boone.
Yes.
You've got the weird koala, I don't know her name.
Canberra.
You've got Molly,
Yeah.
Cookie, and Benedict.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's that. You've got your Islanders set up there. Your resident services is going to be upgraded. It's funny. You said something that resonated with me in terms of like why the game is kind of really special, because not only is the game special for the obvious reasons, it's cozy, it's an island getaway, it's just wholesome and cute and stuff like that, but you said that you liked the community aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which resonated with me because I definitely agree. I like how, I mean, dude, I've like reconnected with people I haven't talked to in years
Mm-hmm.
who are messaging me about Animal Crossing, like out of the blue, So I definitely like that. And then like my wife and I kind of have this little triangle of like, we're going to each other's towns like almost every day and buying stuff from each other's shops and trading stuff, and if I get excess recipes, I'll send them to you and stuff like that. Send stupid little messages to each other. I enjoy that whole experience. I gave you my son.
Again. Oh, yeah, you did give me your son, yes. He sat out in the rain yesterday.
I told you to raise him. Tell him my story. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. You do your daily chores, which include sending me my tribute.
Obviously, I couldn't do that today because my shit was closed.
True. You can't be blamed for that.
Which annoyed me because I'm like, I got all this money that I got like hella bags of like bells in my fucking inventory right now. I can't do shit with.
For what? How'd you end up with so much money?
Your
money trees.
Yes.
Nice.
So yeah, I got like my wallet's full and I got like 5 or 6 bags of like 10,000 bells.
Did you wind up? So you wound up with the 10? It didn't give you the 99?
No.
I haven't had. It's funny because I saw that whole thing. It's happened to Anastasia, but it hasn't happened to me yet. Where you can plant the 10,000 bells inside of the like glowing like hole that you get every day, and that'll create a money tree, and you've got a 30% chance for the money tree to grow and give you 100,000 bells, like 3 bags of 100,000 bells, or 99,000 bells technically. Whatever. It hasn't happened to me. Every time my trees grow, it's just 10,000. But she says it happens to her, so I mean, we'll see.
I take that chance,
Yeah, I mean, it's worth taking the chance. I mean, worst case scenario, you're still tripling the money you put in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really worth it. Yeah, I mean, for me, Animal Crossing is obviously the main thing. I think I'm now around 260 hours, I think. So it is by far my most played Switch game. It has usurped Breath of the Wild. So already,
I'll be honest, I'm not surprised by that at all.
I'm not either, and it's just gonna get worse. I mean, like, as this game goes on, the way they've been supporting this game already, it's just gonna get worse. So, Animal Crossing, a lot of that. You know what? In preparation of Streets of Rage 4 coming out today at the time of this recording, I actually was in the mood to play like a brawler, like a 2D brawler, because I hadn't played one in a while, and I was like, well, I don't want to come into Streets of Rage 4 like totally out of the game, like out of practice with these. So I re-downloaded my copy of River City Girls that I bought but never played. I bought it on sale but never actually played it. And I've been fooling around with that. I put like a few hours into that, and that game is really, really good. That's a really excellent brawler. It's funny. It's got a great art style, great music. It's like well written, well voice acted. Just a really high quality 2D brawler. But I'll say this, it's fucking hard when you're playing it by yourself. And so now I'm worried with Streets of Rage 4. I'm kind of hoping that you end up picking up Streets of Rage 4 and playing with me. Because I'm like, this game's kind of hard in single player. I wonder if Streets of Rage is going to be hard too. Of course, Streets of Rage is going to have more playable characters than River City Girls. You've only got 2 characters in River City Girls to choose from.
Did Streets of Rage come out yet or no?
It comes out today.
Okay.
At the time of this recording, it comes out today. So I'm going to pick it up. I'm looking forward to that. River City Girls was a nice little, nice little can of WD-40 there to get some of the rust off. I haven't played a brawler. I think the last brawler I played was the Scott Pilgrim game back in like 2010. So it's been a minute. So I'm really looking forward to it. Another game that I picked up on the eShop sale is Taiko no Tatsujin Drum and Fun, which is... Do you remember when we were in Austin and I was playing that drum game in the arcade?
Yeah.
You remember that? That's what that is. So it's known in the States as Taiko Drum Master. And it's essentially a drum-based rhythm game that is hugely popular in Japan. And we haven't gotten a Taiko game in the States since, like, I think PS2. So finally, they did do a localization of an English localization for the Switch, for the Taiko game that they made for the Switch. So I picked that up on sale. It was like $20, and having a lot of fun with it. My only real issue is that the way that you control the game is really odd, because you can play the game with a controller and like do button presses, but that doesn't really feel good. Like, you want to have the actual tactile, like you're drumming. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like just doing button presses doesn't quite feel good. But so you can use the Joy-Cons and pretend like they're drumsticks, and you can play the game that way. And it feels good because they make good use of the HD rumble. So like it feels like you're actually hitting a drum. The problem is it is not accurate enough. It is not nearly accurate enough. To where, like, with a controller, I can play on hard or even expert sometimes. But when I'm using the actual Joy-Con, I can't play any higher than normal. Because it's just so inaccurate. There'll be double hits sometimes, or it'll think you're doing a cob, but really you're trying to do a dawn or something. The game, the controls for the game are extremely simple. Like, deceptively simple. And it just does not... The Joy-Con is not the preferred way to play. Ideally, you would have the actual physical drum. The problem is, that drum only came out in Japan, the physical drum. So I'd have to, if I want it, I would have to import it from Japan. And if I wanted to do that, it would cost me about $100. And I'm debating on if I want to go that far. I'm like, I love these drum games so much. I love Taiko Drum Master. It's so much fun. But do I want to pay $100 to import the actual drum kit? It's like a little drum kit that sits on your table or whatever, and it's got like the two drumsticks, and that's obviously the preferred way of playing the game. I'm torn. I don't know if I want to do it or not. On one hand, I'm like, is $100 really too much of an ask to have that arcade experience in your home? But I don't know. So that's something I'm debating on. We're going to talk about this a little bit later on in the show, in the news drop, but Deadly Premonition. I played that a little bit because I picked up that game for half off. It's on sale right now on the Switch eShop.
That fucking weird ass game.
Dude, I love that game so much. It's so funny and weird and dumb. My wife was watching me play and she was just so confused. Like, she was just... It is just so... I love it so much.
The only thing I can say about that is, that's like, sounds about right. Somebody just watching it being confused.
It's so funny. Well, because, like, she's like, so is this like a scary game? And I was like, not really. But, like, in the beginning of the game, they try to make it kind of seem like it is, because it almost feels like Resident Evil a little bit in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
The way it starts. But then, like, it just quickly becomes, like, weird, like, Twin Peaks by way of Japan kind of thing. And It's got these really eccentric characters. I really, really like it. I don't think I'm going to have time to do a full replay of that game on Switch, but I want to just own it because Deadly Premonition 2 is coming out soon, and I'm obviously I'm going to play that, and I have such a soft spot in my heart for Deadly Premonition. The game is so bad, but so good at the same time. Anyway, that's pretty much what I've been up to. I'm really just kind of waiting on Streets of Rage 4. I wanted to play more Final Fantasy, but to be honest with you, Todd, I'm having such a hard time turning on my PlayStation and playing games on it. Like, I'm ready for a PS5, man. I'm ready for that PS5.
I know you are.
I'm ready for a nice, snappy console that runs well and doesn't sound like a jet engine.
I accept my jet engine for what it is.
And it's really funny because before, if I had gone back even 6 months ago, I would have told you, I'm still pretty like happy with my PS4. And now I'm like, I don't know that I am happy with my PS4. I think I'm kind of ready for something nice and smoothly operating. Because that's the big thing with me is like, the Switch is not nearly as powerful as any of these, but at least it feels good to play. I think that's the big difference for me. Like, Nintendo fanboyism aside, it's the actual user experience is so much better. Like, I go on my PlayStation and it's just sluggish, and like the store is like taking forever to load, and like I have to fucking download the game, and then I have to copy it and install it, and it just, everything is so slow. I made the joke too. I was like, it was like I had fucking whiplash going from my Switch to my PS4. I'm ready for PS5. I'm ready for something I just hope that the UI is snappy and quick, and just like that's my number one thing. I just want something that is very smooth to use.
Still, like I said to you off recording, like I think the reason it doesn't bother me as much is because I do it more often than you as I go back.
Right. So I don't know. I've been wanting to play Final Fantasy VII, but then I turn on my PlayStation. I'm just like, fuck this, and I'm just ready for PS5. Bring it on. Shockingly, we don't really have too much PS5 talk in the news drop, but I've got plenty to cover here in the news drop. Todd, you ready for some news?
Let's do it.
So I'm going to start off with a big one. The next Assassin's Creed game has been officially unveiled. It's called Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And it seems like the long-standing rumors of the game being about Vikings have been confirmed. The game was revealed with this really weird, bizarre 8-hour live stream where this artist called Boss Logic created the game's key art in the live stream for viewers. And so he's doing this. It takes him 8 hours to make this art. And then as the stream ends, it teases that the proper gameplay reveal will be for what would be the next day, April 30th. Now, I want to preface this. Because of our recording schedule, we are not able to watch the gameplay reveal. We'll talk about it next week on the show. I would have liked to wait and talk about the gameplay reveal this week on the show, but it just wouldn't work out for our recording schedule, so whatever.
With things going on personally, and also I work.
Yeah, so we'll cover that next week on the show. I think what we could do though is sort of speculate. I mean, what are you thinking? It's Valhalla, it's Viking themed. Where's your head at? Is this an Assassin's Creed game? I mean, you skipped Odyssey.
I'm down. I mean, yeah. Surprisingly, I wasn't into that setting. I usually like Greek mythology shit.
Now, people who've been listening to the show for a long time know that I loved Odyssey. I put like 140 hours into Odyssey. I platinumed the game. I mean, I loved that game.
Your experience with Odyssey was my experience with Origins. So.
Exactly. So you loved Origins. I loved Odyssey. I feel like we're both going to be picking this one up.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely down for Valhalla.
Now, have you seen... First of all, I love the title. I'm so glad it wasn't like Assassin's Creed Ragnarok or something like that, like everybody was thinking.
I definitely prefer Valhalla.
I love it. I love that it's called Valhalla. By the way, did you actually get a look at the key art that the dude made?
Yeah.
So here's what's interesting about this key art to me, right? There is a duality to the key art where you have the character. I'm assuming this is going to be a character kind of in the middle of the frame, right? I'm assuming this is going to be straight up the box art of the game. And you've got the dude sitting there in the middle, and on either side of him is like two disparate images, right?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like there is sort of a combat scene on the right side of the image, and it looks like it's in this sort of like golden plain at sunset. And then on the left side, it looks much more what you would expect of the Viking setting, kind of a frozen fjord with like a Viking ship, you know. It looks much more in line with what you would expect. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I don't know if you remember this when we initially reported on these rumors forever ago for Assassin's Creed Vikings, basically. The code name for this game as it was in production was Kingdom. Assassin's Creed Kingdom was the code name. And Jason Schreier actually was on Twitter and he says, "Oh, by the way, I was corrected that the code name was not Kingdom, it was Kingdoms, plural."
Oh.
So I'm wondering if that plays into the duality of the key art here. The fact that there's a vibe of like pillaging and war and kingdoms at war in this.
That's some
this
pretty
key art.
That's pretty Viking shit right there.
Exactly. So I totally think that's what we're gonna be after. It seems like there's a little bit of a rebellion vibe going on. Now, here's my question to you: a major part of Assassin's Creed Odyssey was allowing players to choose between a male and a female character. Do you think they're going to bring that back?
Yeah, they could.
I really think that they need to.
Well, yeah,
I think it would be.
Well, you can't be a fucking shield maiden.
That's what I'm saying. I think it'd be a huge mistake for them to backpedal on that with this one, because I don't know the stats. It'd be interesting to see, but I'd have to assume that the overwhelming majority of players played as Cassandra in Odyssey.
I think she was the more popular character in one. She was the better performed character. Yeah.
I would like to see the statistics on how many people played as her versus Alexios or whatever. But it's also narratively, it's going to be weird the way they make that work, because obviously Cassandra and Alexios were brother and sister. They kind of can't go for that vibe twice. I think it would be a little silly. But then in the key art here, the character in the front of the key art is very clearly a man. I mean, he's got a beard. So I don't know. I think they're in a little bit of a tricky position. And of course, you probably remember a few years ago, Ubisoft came under some fire for people who were fighting for gender equality in Ubisoft games because they made that stupid statement where they were like, "We don't have girls in this game because it would be too expensive." So I just feel like they have to have some sort of playable female character, even if, you know, I think that it might be time. I don't know if I'm going to like full on make this prediction, but I think it might be time to just let us make a custom character. Honestly. If we're at this place now with Assassin's Creed narratively where we aren't even necessarily looking at our ancestors anymore, you know?
It's true.
Like, the character doesn't really have to look like anybody. You could kind of just let me make a custom character, and I don't think it would matter at all. Especially now that the series, with each release, starting with Origins, has become more and more of an RPG.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like a full custom character would be totally appropriate for Assassin's Creed. So we'll see. This might all sound really, really stupid by the time you listen to this podcast because the gameplay reveal would have already happened, but we'll sort of compare and contrast next week on the show with what actually ended up getting revealed. So anyway, that's Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm excited. I'm curious as to the release details of it. Is this going to be a cross-gen game? Is this going to be like a PS4 and PS5 game? Are they going to go with just strictly PS5? Is it still coming out this fall? Are they still going to commit to a fall release date in these Corona times? The game's been in development for a long time, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with this. I'm hyped. I loved Odyssey. I'm ready for this. So, anyway, this might interest you, Todd. This is actually something that was just announced like hours ago, and I needed to make a last minute addendum to my show notes here. New paid DLC is on its way to 2015's parkour zombie game Dying Light. We're getting new paid DLC for Dying Light. So we got a teaser trailer that was released for a DLC called Hell Raid. And the teaser trailer didn't show much. It featured this kind of demonic arcade cabinet, though. And apparently the title Hell Raid was in reference to a project that developer Techland was working on back in 2012 that they have since put on hold.
Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't even... I don't know if I just blacked out that part of my mind.
Well, I like Dying Light a lot, so I remember stupid shit like that.
Well, this was long before Dying Light came out.
No, I remember that too. I still remember Hell Raid.
Yeah, so I mean, you played like Dead Island and shit, so maybe maybe it was kind of in that realm. But I guess they put Hell Raid on hold, and it looks like maybe they're kind of working some of the assets and ideas into this DLC for Dying Light. Techland confirmed to IGN that this DLC would be set in the demonic fantasy world called Hell Raid, but will feature Dying Light gameplay. So, this is coming sometime this summer. No official release date was given, no gameplay was shown, no price was given. We just know that it's paid, Dying Light DLC, and it seems like it's going to be in some demon realm called Hell Raid. So, I mean, I love Dying Light. So, I mean, I guess I'm down for more Dying Light. I'm assuming it would still be co-op compatible.
More than likely.
So that might be a fun little thing. I still see what happens. Is it shocking to you that we're still 5 years on getting Dying Light DLC?
I mean, surprising. But I'm happy with it. I like Dying Light. I like Dying Light a lot.
When did the following come out? The following was probably, 2017?
Maybe. Let me see.
I gotta look this up real quick, because I feel like the following must have been 2017 or something, right? No, 2016. 2016 it came out. So, I mean, the last and really only major expansion for Dying Light came out over 4 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, we're getting more Dying Light? I mean, that's kind of crazy to me.
Well, I got no issue with it. I'm probably going to pick it up. Fuck you, mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to pick it up if if I hear that it's good. I would definitely like to play that in co-op. That'd be fun.
I'm definitely interested in that because I do remember Hell Raid shit, which is funny to me.
What do you remember? What was there? Did they have like a?
I swear to God,
was it supposed to be a game?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a straight game, dude. It started out as a mod for Dead Island. Okay. And then they're like some shit like that. But yeah, I mean, it was a thing. It was going to be like this, like a fucking like fantasy like RPG sort of thing that they were going to do.
So it's got its own. It even has its own Wikipedia page. I'm looking at it right now. It says Hell Raid is a video game in development by Techland. It was scheduled to be released for Windows, PS4, and Xbox One in 2015, but has been put on hold since then. A mobile spin-off titled Hell Raid: The Escape was published in 2014. So it was going to feature both co-op and single-player mode, as well as an online mode called Game Master. The game is to be played from a first-person perspective and to feature randomly generated content, and have co-op support for up to 4 players. Yeah, as you said, it was supposed to be a mod for Dead Island before becoming an individual game. First revealed as a press release in 2013. Wow, this is weird. Yeah, so it just seems like they probably just scrapped this altogether and they said, you know what? Let's cut our losses and let's just make this an expansion for Dying Light. Wonder how meaty it'll be. I mean, if you're telling me that I can take the gameplay of Dying Light and just kind of do a fun, kind of giving me a Far Cry Blood Dragon kind of vibe, Like just a goofy kind of take me to hell kind of spin-off. I'm into that. What do you think is the sweet spot there for the price?
It really just depends on how big it is.
Right.
To me, like if it's like like the following size expansion, I'd pay a little more money than that. I'd pay like $30, $40. But
the
if it's
following,
like
how much did they charge for the following when that came out?
I don't remember. I honestly
don't remember
remember
either. But the following was a pretty meaty expansion.
Yeah. I mean, if it's just like kind of a standard little add-on, like $20, I'd be fine with.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll keep an eye on that and see what the deal is. But I mean, certainly, Dying Light, we had a blast playing that in co-op, so I'd be happy to re-download that and play some more Dying Light. I'd be happy to jump back into that. I love that game. Although I am kind of just like, guys, like just give me Dying Light 2 already, honestly. I'm just kind of ready for Dying Light 2 at this point.
You will never get Dying Light 2, boy.
I think they delayed that game indefinitely, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, they said it's very much still in development. It's not canceled, but they have not given any new release date. That game, by the way, I think was supposed to come out in like February of this year.
Yeah. I try not to think about it.
Yeah, it looked good. It's sad. We'll see when that finally comes out. At this point, I'm sure it's going to be a next-gen title. Anyway, so that's Dying Light. Speaking of updates, Star Wars Battlefront 2, a game that we have a soft spot in our hearts for. It received its final update this week.
Oh, is it?
Yep. So, according to the developer anyways, this is the final proper content update for Battlefront 2. The game is still going to be supported with things like community events and they're still going to throw on like double XP weekends and do, still maintaining
but
the servers.
But actual additional content.
Right. But the actual additional content is over now. They did I think it's called the Battle on Scarif update that just came out, and that's going to be the game's last content update. So EA made a statement about that, and essentially they said that and they're also kind of wrapping up in the summer. They're wrapping up the final post-launch support for Battlefield 5. Remember Battlefield 5?
Battlefield 5?
Yeah.
No, I was just
remember that? So they're wrapping that up too, and they're basically saying, hey, now that all these different branches of DICE are kind of wrapping up the post-launch support for these games, it's going to be all hands on deck to work on the next Battlefield game, which they say is coming next year. So
speaking of Battlefield 5, one of my buddies has tried to get me to re-download that game, and I'm like, why? He's like, the Japanese maps are really cool. I'm like, I don't care.
I can't even really tell you. They're just it was just that game was just missing something for me.
It didn't hit like 1 did for me.
I loved Battlefield 1. Absolutely loved it. Had such a good time playing that game.
Burn, motherfucker.
Some classic moments of you and I playing that game. I don't know what it was. I don't know what the deal was. I can't really. It's strange. I can't really articulate it. It just wasn't quite the same.
See the clips that we're talking about on our YouTube channel.
YouTube. You and I did that. I sometimes I'll go back and I'll watch that Inglourious Bastards clip. That was some pretty filthy shit, actually. We just did you and I just casually did like a squad wipe, just fucking holed up in a little barn.
That was a good time.
Just because we were both playing medics, just sitting there reviving each other basically left and right.
The burn motherfucker one's still my favorite.
It's a funny clip. It's just, we had some good times on that game. But for whatever reason, 5 just did not hit the same. I don't know.
Yeah, just didn't hit me in that way that I like to be hit.
Yeah. So it is what it is. We'll see what they do with the next one.
Now here's the deal. They've learned their lesson from Battlefield 2. Or Battlefront 2, sorry.
Yeah.
They've learned their lesson. To take what they've done by the end of Battlefront 2 and have that as a starting point for Battlefront 3.
Well, it's funny that you say that. I was reading earlier tonight. These are not confirmed reports, but I was reading a report that said that from what they hear, I don't remember who reported on this, but from what they understand over there at EA, there is no intention on making a Battlefront 3.
Really?
So, I don't know, man. I hope that's not true. I would love for them to just really refine, because Battlefront 2 is a good game. They really turned that game around.
Oh, dude, it started off, like, I'm not going to say the game was...
It was rough. It was rough when it started out.
Yeah.
And it caught a lot of, like, bad publicity when it started out, obviously, because of all the microtransactions
The
and everything.
microtransactions were fucking legendary. They were so bad.
But I mean, the way the state the game is, I mean, it is a legitimately good game now, and I have a lot of fun playing that game. I mean, you and I will often just have little, moods where we're just like, let's just play co-op.
Yeah, I should last. Well, the last time I jumped on, I said fuck it, and I ended up like leveling up like 2 of the specialists I use a lot, and then I was like concentrating on like leveling up and getting my like all my star cards for like Anakin.
Yeah, just fun. Just a fun time. They've really cut out a lot of the bullshit. Especially now that you can grab the Celebration Edition and just get all of the DLC, like past and future. Like, just boom, boom, boom. So, I don't know. And then, so, there's that. There's rumors of... we don't know what they're doing with the next Battlefield, obviously, but it sounds like they're focusing on that for 2021 as their kind of big shooter.
So, can I be honest? I want Battlefield to go back modern. Honestly. I would genuinely jump into the next Battlefield in like full force if it was a modern one. I'm like, it was cool to go back to like World War II and shit. But I think we've hit that cycle now. We need to cycle back to modern times. Let's go. Then everybody plays like 3 or 4 modern games and we get pissed off. Go back to World War II.
I just want Bad Company 3, honestly.
You'll never fucking get it, bitch.
Yeah.
You're you're preaching to the choir. I love Bad Company.
I know you do.
But I'm a realist.
It's funny because the rumor is that the next Call of Duty for this year is going to be either a Black Ops reboot or otherwise going to take place in Vietnam. So, and of course, that's already well-worn ground for Battlefield. So I wonder if it's going to be another situation where Battlefield's kind of like, me too.
I mean, we'll I don't mind the whole like Vietnam setting, but it is what it is. You'll never get a Bad Company 3 though, boy.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in that. But look, I want to have a good Battlefield game to get into, so I will be paying attention to whatever this ends up being. I'm sure we're not going to hear about it properly anytime soon.
Oh, no, not at all.
But I would love to get into another Battlefield game the way that we got into one. I would love to, don't get me wrong, I would love to. But yeah, I think you're right. I'd like to see him go modern. Go back to the modern setting. It's just funny. You don't have too many avenues you can go with. You can either go with one of the past wars, you can go modern, or you can go future. And they're all so well-worn ground that like somebody's going to be tired of them regardless.
Oh yeah, somebody's going to be like, oh, they're doing modern? Ugh, disgusting.
And you can't go like crazy with it. You can't go like fantasy with it either, because like the fans who want to play like a military shooter are not going to be into that.
That is what Battlefield is to me. Like it is. I like Battlefield for that aspect of it. But I'd have no issue. I wouldn't mind like doing some like kind of futuristic shit and having like some prototype shit, but still kind of keep it grounded, which they've done before with some other shit.
I wonder if they're cautious about that though, because we just got. I mean, the latest Call of Duty is Modern Warfare. Yeah. So I wonder if they're gonna try to steer clear of that. I don't know.
I want you copying Call of Duty.
There's always that danger because Call of Duty is always annual and Battlefield is not.
Mm-hmm.
There's always that danger. They're always going to be the copycat,
I don't compare the two, personally. I think they're completely different. Like,
they are.
They're like completely different experiences. Like, I play them completely differently. And it's just, I've always hated that comparison.
I do too.
But
yeah, I completely agree. I almost just wish Battlefield would just ditch the single player stuff altogether with the next one.
I'm not a fan of the stories. I really don't fuck with them. I didn't touch it on the last two, like 1 and 5.
I tried. I think I might have done like 1 or 2 of them on one. I was like, all right, this is all right, but I'm here for the multiplayer.
Well, here's my thing. If you do a really solid campaign, I might fuck with it. But it was just a whole, not the story, it's just like an actual like campaign, I might fuck with it. But overall, I go to Battlefield for the multiplayer. Deadass.
I think most people do that. I think, and again, this is why I keep coming back to this with the climate that we're in now. A Battlefield game, Battlefield 6 or whatever, think of how much better it would sell if it was just multiplayer only. You come out, you charge, even if you could even charge like $40 and say, hey, like there's microtransactions and there's stuff like that. There's like aesthetic shit you could buy. There's a battle pass or whatever you could buy. But the actual base experience is just a multiplayer experience, and you could sell it at a discount because you're not spending all this money developing a campaign. I think that would really do well for them. I mean, I'd buy it for $40. A new Battlefield game for $40 at launch. Sounds good to me. Sign me the fuck up. Also, guys, if you're going to do Battle Royale, I do recommend having that ready at launch this time.
That's some real shit, dude. By the time, I'll be honest, by the time Firestorm came out, I did not give a fuck.
It was that ship had already sailed.
I played a few games of it. It's honestly, it's all right.
Seems like it doesn't really work as well for Battlefield as it does for Call of Duty.
Well, here's the thing. By all accounts, it should have.
You would think, because Battlefield already is such, like, it's a larger scale than Call of Duty and stuff.
It should have worked. It's just, I personally didn't enjoy it. I think there was, like, some, at the time I was playing it, maybe they updated it, I don't know. There was some balancing issues. It's like, motherfuckers, the armors, they would just eat bullets. I'm like, that's a little bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, well, it never really caught fire. Ha 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 ha. So.
Kill yourself, no.
Anyway, so just real quick, I wanted to talk about this. In an interview earlier this week, Final Fantasy VII Remake director Tetsuya Nomura shed some light on his hopes for the release cadence of future episodes for the game. So, in an interview that was translated by IGN Japan, Nomura was asked how many parts Final Fantasy VII Remake will be comprised of. Because that's been a big thing, is like people are like, okay, you just delivered FF7 Remake. This is like a 40 to 50 hour game, but you've basically stretched what was in the base game in the original. This was only like a 6 to 8 hour chunk of the game that you've now stretched into like a 40 hour game. How big is this game going to be? You know?
1,000 hours.
Exactly. How many parts is this going to be, and how long is it going to take to get more parts? So anyway,
Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 20. God.
Yeah. So he was asked about that, and he replied, he says, quote, "It all depends on how many parts we make. If we separate it into bigger chunks, it will take more time. But if we take smaller portions, it can be done in a shorter span. Personally, I would like to deliver it fast," end quote. So it sounds like he's kind of more keen to deliver smaller releases more quickly, which I know you haven't played the original, but Final Fantasy VII's story is very much like a point-to-point. Like, you can kind of easily imagine, like this is the Golden Saucer portion of the story, and this is this village portion of the story, you know? You could easily imagine him, you could see them releasing maybe a 10 to 15 hour experience, charge like $20 for it, and release it like once a year. You know what I mean? I could see him doing that, and I think that'd be kind of cool, because at that point, they don't have to worry about sticking that on a shelf. They don't have to worry about being like, oh, this is fun, like you just said, Final Fantasy Remake Part 24. Like, they don't have to worry about doing that.
Damn, this man just added 4 more parts.
Exactly. So, yeah, you could literally just tack that on to as DLC, essentially, for the game that you already own, you know? And it still would encompass the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And then, you know, later on down the line, once it's all done, you can just package it all together on a disc or whatever and resell it. So I think that would be the smarter way to go about it. I really don't want to wait 3 to 4 years for another 50-hour Final Fantasy VII experience. I would much rather get just a little $20 hit every year, keep that story going, you know what I mean, for another 15, 20 hours versus, 40 to 60. I'm good with that. And it sounds like that's what Nomura wants to do. I think the issue he's going to run into is I wonder if Square is going to want to do that. It all is going to come down to the publisher. But I think the game's story structure would work really well with that model, and I don't know, we'll see. We will see. So Todd, the Xbox Games with Gold and PlayStation Plus free games have been revealed for the month of May 2020. Xbox Live Gold members will have access to V-Rally 4 for Xbox One and Sensible World of Soccer, which sounds like a video game vomit title, by the way. Sensible World of Soccer. That legit sounds like a video game vomit title. For Xbox 360 starting on May 1st. Starting on May 16th, Warhammer 40k Inquisitor for Xbox One and Overlord 2 for Xbox 360 will be made available. You remember Overlord?
I do remember Overlord.
I actually like the Overlord games. It's kind of like Pikmin and Fable had a baby a little bit.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
I like those games. I don't know. I wouldn't mind a new Overlord game. Weirdly enough, I think let me verify this real fast, but I believe Overlord was actually made by Codemasters, which Codemasters I think is that, yeah, it was made by Codemasters. They're known for racing games.
Mm-hmm.
They're done, they did like the Micro Machines and the Colin McRae Rally, like they're known for, they're a racing game studio. And then they fucking all right, here's Overlord. All right, that's an interesting. But yeah, I liked those games. Kind of had that British humor, you know. I liked it. Anyway, so that's coming. PlayStation Plus members will be able to freely download Farming Simulator 19 and City Skylines.
Fuck yes, dude.
Hell yeah.
Farming Simulator 19. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, that starts on May 5th. You can get those. So
I'm being sarcastic.
Those games do have an audience.
I'm not a part of that audience.
There are people who legitimately enjoy those games, but so anyway, as always, my monthly PSA with these, even if you don't plan on playing the games right now, remember to at least add their license to your profile so that you'll always own them as long as you have an active subscription. You're paying for them, you might as well own them. So I would go ahead and do that. So in other news, Nintendo confirmed this week that roughly 160,000 Switch accounts were hacked, potentially compromising personal user information. Nintendo did confirm that no credit card information was stolen during the hack. The hack was apparently targeting users that migrated their login information via Nintendo ID, which is the kind of ID that they had you use for like the 3DS and Wii U era.
Yeah.
So people who log in using that to their like My Nintendo account for Switch were at risk of being compromised by this hack. So Nintendo actually has now removed that functionality from the Switch. You can no longer log in via Nintendo ID. And Nintendo is actually encouraging users to go ahead and enable two-factor authentication on their accounts. So if you'd like to get that set up for yourself, they do have a detailed guide on how to do that on their website. So worth doing. If you're afraid of something like that, go ahead and change your password, get the 2FA set up, and you'll be good to go. So just a PSA there. There's always somebody getting hacked, Todd.
Shit, I got hacked a while back on my PS4.
Is that right? I don't remember.
You don't remember that? You don't remember that shit, dude?
No.
That shit pissed me off. I came home. It was like a couple months. It was probably like 3-4 months ago. Fucking, I came home. I was like, I couldn't log into my PS4. I'm like, what the fuck? Now, my shit
changed your password, huh?
Yeah, dead ass changed my shit. I had to and the thing is, I had to sit there like an asshole for like an hour until fucking support opened up. Fucking.
Oh, I think I do remember this.
Yeah. I mean, it was quick, easy, man. Like we got that shit set up like instantly.
Good.
Like, but whoever, I think I even like did the review. I gave that buddy 5 stars.
He was like nice and everything.
Oh, dude, knock that shit out for me.
Good.
Don't remember his name, but If you're out there, you know who you are. No, I was just
I remember this guy.
no,
I just happened to listen to his small podcast.
right?
Anyways, so speaking of video games, video game release dates here. We've got video game release dates kind of have been uncertain, obviously. These are uncertain times. But a lot of games did get confirmed dates this week. So I'm going to start off small here. Publisher THQ Nordic revealed the release dates for 2 of their upcoming remasters that they have coming out. So they've got SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which is coming June 23rd.
I love the title of that.
Rehydrated?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. I might pick that up. They're only asking $30 for it. So I might pick that up for that price.
I honestly might grab Destroy All Humans.
Yeah, so they confirmed the date for that. Destroy All Humans Remastered coming July 28th. That's a good game.
I love me some Destroy All Humans.
Fun game. They have like ridiculous collector's editions for these games, by the way.
Oh, do they?
I don't know why they're making these. I'm sure they're just like trying to get a quick buck. They're like absurd. I think there's like the crypto edition of Destroy All Humans, like $500 or some shit. I think it comes with like a life-size figure of the fucking alien. It's like absurd. Like they're doing some like stupid collector's editions for these games. Probably just because they know there's going to be some collector fucker out there that has too much money that's going to buy them.
Dude, what the fuck? What the hell is on his back? It's a crypto backpack. It's terrifying.
It's like a whole. They really went extra with it.
Yeah, so they got this fucking. I'm looking at it. It's the Crypto 137 edition, and dude, there is this fucking terrifying crypto backpack where he's just on your back and shit.
Yeah,
dude, have you seen this? It's hilariously creepy.
It's pretty bad. Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He's like naked. It looks like.
It's like, what the fuck?
It comes with all sorts of accoutrement there.
I mean, I respect the keychain. I like a good keychain.
But I mean, who the fuck is going to buy this?
I mean, my stupid ass is kind of like, I want that backpack. I want to sit there and ride my bike.
Hey, bro, this is what, $400?
Yeah, dead ass.
It's like a 2-foot tall crypto figure. Shit. It's just absurd. THQ Nordic.
I want crypto to watch me sleep.
So anyway, that's coming July 28th. If you want to spend $400 on that game, be my guest.
Wouldn't be the worst collector's edition I've bought.
I talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, but Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise, got its release date confirmed. It's coming out July 10th. Exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. And as I said, if you want to get caught up with the riveting story of Francis York Morgan.
What a fucking name.
It's so good. He's such a dork. He's like this dorky detective that talks to his imaginary friend, which is the player, and like gets like...
I like how you said that questioning, like, which is the player?
It's weird because he'll be he's like, right, Zach? And you can like answer him and shit. Yeah, so like I guess you are Zach. And like, which is it's all a huge like Twin Peaks reference, the way like fucking Coop is like talking to Diane the whole time, you know? But at least Diane is seemingly a real person. Zach is like you and also his imaginary friend. And he sees like messages in his morning coffee. That classic scene in the fucking first game. Clear as a crisp spring morning. FK in the coffee. So good.
Game's so fucking stupid.
Like I said, if you want to catch up with that, the game is currently half off. It's like $15 on the eShop. I mean, look, buckle up. If you want to play that game and you want to just experience just one hell of a ride, buckle up. One thing that I do like, can I just shout out real quick? Because like I said, I played this game a little bit this week. While you're shooting, and the game's like gun controls are so soft, and just like if you're even halfway decent at shooters, like third-person shooters, you'll just be able to easily pull off headshots and shit. The enemies just move so slow and stupidly towards you. So you're just sitting there just pulling off headshots with ease, and he like compliments you the whole time, which is kind of funny. Just nice, great shot. So good. I love that game. So anyway, July 10th, that comes out exclusively on Switch. Finally, Sony revealed new summer release dates for both Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2. You might remember a few weeks ago, The Last of Us Part 2 was delayed indefinitely due to COVID-19 concerns, but it now has a release date of June 19th. Meanwhile, we were kind of worried that Ghost of Tsushima was going to get pushed, and it has, but not by much. It gets a small delay. It was originally supposed to come out June 26th. It is now releasing July 17th. So like a 3-week delay. Probably, honestly, I think the only reason Ghost probably got delayed was probably just for sheer proximity. They don't want to release that the week after The Last of Us.
That's honestly what I thought.
Yeah, just sheer proximity there. I think that's all it is. But the real big story here, and this is what I kind of want to end this week's show talking about, because probably the biggest news story of the week this week is, and speaking about The Last of Us Part 2, if you're looking forward to this game and you don't want major plot details spoiled for you, you might want to kind of go dark online.
It's too late for me.
Yeah, I know. I warned you. You might want to kind of go dark.
Granted, I don't even know if I'll buy it now.
Really? You're one of those, huh?
Well, the things I know. The full details that I know.
One of those. All right. Well, anyway, I have thoughts. I'll elaborate on this a little bit more as we go on here with this story, but details have been thoroughly leaked online. Reportedly, this major leak, it comes by way of a apparently disgruntled Naughty Dog employee that leaked like lists of the game's levels, as well as dozens of like spoiler-filled cutscenes and screenshots from the game. And apparently, the report is that this ex-employee like did this as an act of protest, like claiming that the company had not properly paid him or something, like in the wake of the pandemic. I don't know what the exact details are there. Naughty Dog did not acknowledge that aspect of the leaks, but they did issue a statement on Twitter acknowledging the leaks themselves, saying, quote, "We know the last few days have been incredibly difficult for you. We feel the same. It's disappointing to see the release and sharing of pre-release footage from development. Do your best to avoid spoilers, and we ask that you don't spoil it for others. The Last of Us Part 2 will be in your hands soon. No matter what you see and hear, the final experience will be worth it." Now, you say, and I've seen a lot of people say this, that you don't even know if you're going to buy it anymore based on what you've read. Now, obviously, we're not going to talk about the spoilers here on the show. I know some stuff. I
know further things. That's the
and that's fine. I don't think that there's anything that you would be able to read about this game that should discourage you from buying the game, because I don't see what the logic is behind reading a plot synopsis. You don't know what the context is. You don't know how it's presented in the game.
True.
So I just don't understand. And like, by the way, Naughty Dog's never made a bad game. Like, they've never steered you wrong. Period. You cannot point to a bad Naughty Dog game.
I could say the same thing. I could say something right now. There's always a first time for everything.
There is, but you have be pissed about when you buy the game and you play it and you see it for yourself. Then you can decide that you don't like it, and then you can decide to be pissed about it.
Well, then I'll be annoyed that I spent $60.
You've spent $60 on way shittier things than whatever it is that Naughty Dog's going to put out. They deserve the benefit of the doubt. They have never made a bad game. They are, in my mind, bar none, the top developer in their craft right now. I have not a doubt in my mind that I could read whatever I want to read about this game online, and there would be nothing that would assuage me from giving Naughty Dog the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you look at The Last of Us is one of the greatest games ever made. It would be in the top 20 list for me easily of the best games ever made. The Uncharted series, phenomenal. Jak and Daxter series, phenomenal. I mean, like, Crash Bandicoot. I mean, this is a legendary studio at the top of their craft. There's no reason to believe that they have not earned your time and money. And again, decide to be mad about it later. Like, you have no... See. Like, you folks have no reason to be mad about it right now. And by the way, you know, I don't know everything you know. I don't want to know everything you know. I kind of looked up what the big point of contention was for a lot of people, and I thought it sounded cool, personally. So, but, you know, read at your own risk.
Cost.
I mean, again, I don't... I have no doubt in my mind that Naughty Dog is going to earn everything that they try to sell you. I think that game is going to be magnificent. I don't know that... My big concern is that I don't think it's going to possibly live up to the heights of the first game. I agree with you that I don't think this game needed a sequel. That being said, again, just by virtue of the pedigree...
As much as what I've said here is where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to buy it. I am probably still going to buy it just because I do want to be... If it solidifies my opinion that this game should not exist in general, I will play it.
Yeah, no,
I genuinely don't think this game needed Last of Us needed a sequel. And if this, from what I'm reading, it really didn't.
I don't know. Again, I don't think you can formulate a true opinion on it.
Oh no, that's
without
why
actually.
I do. That's why I still plan on playing it because I do want it to. If it ends up being a masterpiece, cool. I'll eat my own words. But if it solidifies my opinion that this game should just not even have existed, cool.
Let me put it to you like this, and I don't know any of these spoilers that you're referring to, but so if you haven't played The Last of Us, I'm going to spoil The Last of Us for a second. The first game. So, you know, tune out for a couple of seconds if you don't want to know the way the first game. You've had fucking like it came out in 2013. You've had like 7 years to play it, so fucking get over it. If you had read before the first Last of Us game came out, you know, there's already all this uncertainty. It's like, wait a minute, Naughty Dog's making a zombie game? Like, that was already really weird. Like, everybody was really uncertain about The Last of Us. We didn't know how good it was going to be. If you had read a plot synopsis of the first game, you would probably come away feeling the same way you feel right now about the second game. Think about the plot beats. If you had read about the ending of the first game, right? Where it's like, okay, she gets given up to this group called the Fireflies, who think that they're going to find the cure in this little girl. He goes in and kills everybody. And then at the end of the game chooses to lie to her. That sounds on paper like a shit ending, right? But then when it's played in the context of the game, when you've spent 15, 20 hours with these characters and you've seen them grow and you know in the context, it's a fucking amazing ending. It's one of the best video game endings I think of all time. So that's my point here. You cannot take an on-paper plot synopsis and just base an opinion of, oh, this game's going to suck. You have to see it, you have to experience it, and you have to judge it from there. Now, I'm not saying that Naughty Dog is infallible. I'm completely prepared to, like, if I would be shocked if this game comes out and it's, like, bad and I hate it, but I'm prepared to accept that reality if it happens. If Naughty Dog comes out and this game sucks and I don't like it or whatever, and it's like a chink in the armor for them, then that's one thing. But for right now, I've got no reason to think that they're going to give me anything less than phenomenal. They're batting 1,000. They have earned my money several times over.
We shall see.
I will be buying that game. I will be playing through that game. I will see what happens with my own eyes and my own hands and my own hours, and I'll make up my opinion then. Not just reading a paragraph on fucking Recetera. So that's how I feel about it. And, you know, also just to piggyback off of that for a second, to talk about the actual, it's so shitty of this guy, whoever this guy is that leaked it. I mean, that is so shitty. Can we just acknowledge that? I don't care what happens.
It's shitty. It's shitty. It's also a little funny.
Well, it is funny, but I mean, like, think about this too. Like, no matter what happened, and we don't know the details. He's like, if he didn't get paid, if his payment was like staggered or he got paid late, whatever the case may be.
The way I look at it is, this man was like, "You want to fuck with my money? I'll fuck with yours."
Well, this guy is never going to work in the industry again.
Oh no!
First of all,
that shit's over with now.
There will be legal repercussions for this because he has broken a non-disclosure agreement with the company. So he will be facing legal action. I'm positive that Sony and Naughty Dog are going to be suing him for this.
Well, soon as they actually got nothing left.
They're going to be suing him for this. He's going to be facing down litigation, and he's never going to work in the industry again. So, I mean, what a shitty thing. And by the way, like, this game has been in development for a long time, and like, the hundreds of people over at Naughty Dog that have put their blood, sweat, and tears into this game. And you know, we talk all the time on the show about crunch and stuff like that. To have these people's effort reduced to, like I said, a paragraph or two on Resetera, and for people to say, "Oh, fuck this," to have all of those years of hard work by these people reduced to that because some piece of shit ex-employee wanted to spoil it for people. I mean, that's awful. That's so sad. Regardless of the way the game does turn out, regardless of the way we perceive this game after we play it, that's so sad to me. I don't know. That's just my opinion. It was a real bummer for me to read this. I feel bad for the folks at Naughty Dog, and I'm looking forward to playing that game for myself. And obviously, we will talk about it at length on the show. I think this might even warrant doing like a separate spoiler cast about. Honestly, I think the game is going to be so controversial, just by nature of this. Now that these leaks are out there, I think the plot of the game is going to be so worth talking about. I think that might be something that we might think about doing when that time rolls around. We talked about doing that for God of War, but we never ended up doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, we got that. Last of Us coming out in June. Not too far off, not too big of a delay from its original May 29th release date, and then about a month later we'll be playing Ghost of Tsushima. By the way, did you hear the rumors about Ghost of Tsushima?
What? I did not. What?
So, I was going to cover this on the show, but the rumors were not confirmed, so I didn't want to report on it and speak out of turn, but there was a report that Ghost of Tsushima will not feature any sort of like, because the game is apparently like quasi open world. It's not like a big open world, but there is an open world element to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it will not feature any sort of like map or waypoint system. Like, you have to actually learn landmarks in the world.
I fucking like it. I kind of dig that. Like, what?
Like, you actually have to learn, like, there's this tower over there and there's this village over here, and you have to actually learn the world. You're not going to have like a map that you can constantly consult, you know?
Shit, I'm cool with it. I don't care.
So I think that sounds really interesting if that is indeed the case, and if they do pull that off. These might be completely unfounded rumors, but
fucking start the game. There's a fucking map. No.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I didn't report on it, because I didn't know how true it was, but this was just a report.
But if that is true, that's cool, and I'm down for it.
Yeah, that could be super duper interesting. So we'll see. But anyway, that's pretty much what I've got this week, Todd. Ending it with some PlayStation news there. Looking forward to both of these games. I think it's going to be a good summer for PlayStation. I think it's only a matter of time before we start hearing some more concrete details on PS5 and Xbox Series X. So we will certainly be ready to talk about that when the day comes. I think it's coming up soon, dude. I mean, look, we're in May now, you know. I think we're gonna be talking about these new consoles much more concretely very, very soon. So anyway, got anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
I think that's about it, man.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.